Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. It's time.
What up? What is going on, everybody? We are now live. This is another live edition of Steve's Kitchen here on the Around the Point Network YouTube channel. We're also live over on Kick. We're also live over on Twitch. It is Monday, December the 22nd, 2025. Man, oh man, Christmas is just 3 days away. Oh boy, the excitement is in the air. How is everyone's weekend? How's everybody been? What's been going on with all of you? I can't hear you, but I hope it was a good one. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I hope all of you are getting excited for the holidays, for Christmas, right? And I know there's a lot of you out there who, as we speak, already have, the week off or 2 weeks, whatever the case may be. There's some folks who return back to work in January. That must be nice. That really, really must be nice. I don't have that luxury. I don't. I wish I did. I was literally working this entire week. I was doing the overtime, if you will. I did Christmas shopping. Yeah, I did Christmas shopping yesterday. A little advice to all of you out there. Do not, I repeat, do not go to the mall and do Christmas shopping the Sunday before Christmas. No. Hell no. It is a total shit show. I don't know how your malls are and wherever you guys are at. Like over here, a lot of the stores have lines. Like I was going to the bathroom and I'm leaving the bathroom and I see this line and all just to go to Uggs. Like there's people in this massive line trying to get into Uggs. Like women, dudes. Like when I see a guy in line going to Uggs, it's like, all right, bro, what did you do? Right? Just to get out of the doghouse. Same thing would go if they're going to Crumble, right? I don't know how many of you have a Crumble cookies store in your area, but when I see guys like going in there, and again, I say this as someone who does DoorDash and does Uber, right? I know what's up. Like, yeah, you fucked up. You try to make it up to your sweetheart. You're trying to do whatever it takes to get out of the doghouse. And I will say, you want to get out of that doghouse? Buy her Crumble cookies. Just saying. But got the shopping done yesterday. And just to get out of the mall was a shit show for the most part. But yeah, that's crazy, Draven. Like most malls near me are dead. You know what it is too, bro? The fact that people now just buy on Amazon. People now buy on Amazon, or they'll just, just Amazon. Like Amazon has really, really fucked up a lot of these malls. And I remember like back in the day, going to the mall was like a big deal, bro. Like Saturdays, you were at the mall. You and the homies, whatever it may be, you were chilling at the mall, right? Try to talk to girls, whatever the case may be, right? That was the thing on the weekends back in the day. Now malls are just like, man, remember back in the day, that's what one of the malls in my area is, right? But be that as it may, the malls for the most part, like in my area, because the mall that I went to is like the biggest outlet mall, right? So a lot of the stuff that you can see that you'll get is very, very low price. And also factor in the mall that I go to, right? For this, a lot of the tourists go. So a lot of tourists who go to New York, right, with the tour group, right? the day that they're traveling back home, like hours before they go back to the airport, because in their mind, oh, they're in New York, but no, they're in Jersey, right? They'll take them to this mall, right? It's called Jersey Gardens, right? Um, and what it is, as a tour group, they give everyone who's in the tour group a book like this thick of coupons for additional low prices, right? So that it was also kicked in as well. Um, Especially because I'm older, on Christmas, I get money on Christmas. That must be nice, brother. That must be nice. Crumbles might be good, but I don't know. It's all right. Crumble for the most part. It's very, very sweet. Do not eat the whole thing in one bite. Like they're like these giant cookies, and they give you, and every week the menu changes. So every week you get a whole different menu, different cookie style and shit like that. Uh Most malls, like you mentioned, are dead. Weston, you also right here. To hear that a mall was actually busy takes me back to like 2005. Oh yeah, bro, for real. For me, bro, I remember like in 2000, back in like when I was in middle school, going into high school, right? Going to the mall on Saturdays was the thing to do because everybody went. Everyone congregated at the mall, right? Everyone chilled at the mall. Um, and everyone just went to the movies, snuck into maybe one or two movies and stuff. But now, as I'm older and I go to these malls, I just want to go in, get what I have to get, and just get the fuck out of there. That's basically now what it is. But be that as it may, that was my Christmas shopping. I knocked that out. I knocked that out basically. Got gifts for family, and yeah. And I'm also gonna get a gift for myself, most likely next week. So I'm hoping that is the case. Um, Outside of that, there as far as the wrestling world goes, I mean, Raw tonight is taped. Like these next couple of shows, Raw, SmackDown, dare I even say AEW, Dynamite, it's all taped because yeah, it's Christmas week, so a lot of their talent are off, right? They get to be home with their loved ones. I think that's awesome. I think it's cool to see that these wrestling companies are allowing their talent to be at home during the holidays with the loved ones. Because back in the day, let's be honest, back in the day, especially WWE, talent worked on Christmas. That just had to suck. Like, think about it. Like, you got the one time of the year that you get to be with your loved ones, your family and stuff, and you can't because you have to. And then again, that's life. Because again, like there's certain jobs that are working during Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. Like, I don't know how most of y'all celebrate Christmas. I know there's a lot of you who wake up at 7 in the morning or 10 a.m. on Christmas Day to unwrap your presents, right? In my family, in my culture, we do Noche Buena, which is we all get together, right? As a family, we all get together on the 24th and we celebrate at midnight. Yeah, we celebrate at midnight. We open presents and stuff like that, and that's basically it, you know. But yeah, I think this whole holiday season, the real MVPs are not your loved ones getting you that gift you wanted. It's not, you know, your girlfriend getting you, that iPhone or the AirPods or the PS5 or whatever the case may be. It's the people who work in retail. Those are the true MVPs of the holiday season. The people who work at the malls, the people who work at Best Buy, the people who, any store in general, right? The people who have to put up with the bullshit. Those are the real MVPs of the holiday season, in my humble opinion. Okay. Also, I got family coming over. Well, we're going to my aunt's house, but I got family coming over. My brother flies in, I believe, tomorrow. He flies in and gets to Jersey like early, Christmas Eve. So that there's that too. And yeah, it should be a good one. Draven writes here, retail hell is more like it. Yes, it is. Retail hell. Believe me, bro. I did it for 12 years, bro. I worked retail for 12 years. And let me tell you, these customers are brutal, brutal people. Brutal as fuck. Especially during the pandemic. Oh, forget it. Forget it. But outside of that, as far as the wrestling world is concerned, well, it was, I don't know how many of you guys, watch your independent wrestling, but Andrade made an appearance at the House of Glory show this past Friday, and he attacked the HOG World Champion Charles Mason. And it was also announced today, I guess. Yeah, today I wake up and I go on Twitter and I see that Andrade was posted a video where he announced that he will be at Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th. So he'll be doing New Japan. And it was also, I guess, reported here because y'all wondering, damn, that's crazy. All this has happened, right? So it turns out, because you got to remember, right? Andrade was involved. Well, not that he was involved, but there was this whole situation where he had a 1-year non-compete clause in his contract. I don't know how many of you remember that, but because of all that, right? He couldn't work anywhere. Remember, he left WWE. He literally goes to AEW, right? Takes out Kenny Omega. And then we did not hear from him, right? And then the word got around that, he breached his contract, that he has that 1-year non-compete clause because of what he did. And yeah, it kind of did make AEW look silly in the long run. But the word going around now, this is coming from Fightful Select per Sean Ross Sapp. Andrade is now eligible to sign with AEW. Lawyers negotiated an early exit from WWE that came to be in the last couple of weeks. So that explains why Andrade was able to work Puerto Rico, why Andrade was able to work, do that running at a House of Glory. I know he's booked for like their next show. And also, the fact that he's going to be going to Japan and work for New Japan Pro Wrestling, I'm happy for the guy. I think it was silly that they had him locked to a year. You mean to tell me that the guy has to go a year not being able to work, not make a living for himself? It's so fucking ridiculous. I think it's great that he's able to now do what he has to do. Go out there, do the damn fucking thing. So I'm happy for Andrade. I'm happy for him. Likely he'll go back to AEW and they'll run back and then they'll remind everyone, Andrade took out Kenny Omega and we'll be off from there. Likely in 2026, we'll see a Kenny Omega Andrade program of some capacity, but we'll see how that goes. Also, it just crossed my mind that if I'm reading this correctly, this weekend there's an AEW pay-per-view. Yeah, on this Saturday, right? Is it Saturday or is it Sunday? World's End. Let me just have a look here on my calendar. Let me just make sure. God damn it! Yeah, it's Saturday. Holy shit! This Saturday is AEW World's End. Oh boy. We're probably gonna watch like a family. I don't know yet, or if not, we'll probably watch on the True Heel Heat channel. And if I'm in good spirits, there will likely be a post show later on that night, or if not, I'll just save my thoughts on Kitchen. But chances are the show will probably go over 5 hours, so likely expect a review on Steve's Kitchen, the last Steve's Kitchen of 2025. Okay, so that's probably going to happen. That's probably the plan. But outside of that, I mean, look, there was a big boxing event that happened this past Friday in Miami on Netflix. It was the main event. It was Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, AJ. And originally it was supposed to be Gervonta Davis against Jake Paul. And that fight did not end up happening because Gervonta Davis had domestic issues. So they had to really, really rush for a replacement fighter to replace Gervonta to fight Jake Paul. And who happened to answer the call? None other than former Olympic gold medalist, arguably the face of European heavyweight boxing. The guy who's been boxing since the age of 4. One of the best to fucking do it. The one, the only, Anthony Joshua. He answered the call. Now, going into the fight, a lot of people were under this idea that, hey, if everything is right in the world, right? Anthony Joshua should beat Jake Paul within a round. If this fight goes long, I think it was like a 10-round fight or 8-round fight, one of the two. But if this fight goes long, then there's a problem. Something's up. Something's fishy. Something's not making sense. And we get to the fight, and, Jake Paul went out there rocking the red and yellow Hulkamania, right? He had Tekashi 6ix9ine with him and, making his way to the ring, right? And you look at just the height difference. Like, AJ just towered over Jake Paul, right? So in your mind, you're like, how is he gonna overcome this? How is he gonna weather the storm, right? How would Jake Paul find a way to win, right? Because there's some people out there, believe it or not, who actually thought that Jake Paul, and look, I get it, right? There was a famous line from a WWE alumni, and it's true. I don't know if y'all remember this phrase: any man with 2 hands has a fighting chance. Who remembers that? James Ellsworth, right? Who remembers that? Who remembers that? Draven writes here. He basically copied, but he kind of rephrased what he wrote earlier. My apology for not reading this, but Jake Paul and Andrew Tate both got their asses kicked. Maybe Santa's real after all. Then you rewrote it in a different format here. Jake Paul and Andrew Tate both got their asses kicked in the same weekend. Santa came early. Hey, yo, I don't know about that part, about early, but he has to be here in 2 days, 3 days, whatever you want to call it. He'll be on his way. Santa Claus will be on his way. You rest assured, people. He'll be coming. He'll be on his way to town, if you will. But we get to the fight, and look, I'm not gonna lie to you. All right, I kind of knew what I was walking into. There is a part of me that's like, look, I've had like my godson, right? My godson's like, yo, Steve, do you got anything for the fight? Like a betting prop or something, right? And I'm like, bro, stay away from this fight. Stay the fuck away from this fight. And look, there's some sick degenerates out there who, wagered, some currency on the fight. They did. I think Jake Paul, if I remember, like an hour before the fight, he was at a plus 1,000 on FanDuel, plus 1,000. Like days before the fight, he was a plus 700. He went to a plus 1,000. While AJ, I think, stuck around at minus, I think 700 or some shit like that. And look, there are some people who wagered on Jake Paul. There's still some Jake Paulers out there. There's still the same Jake Paulers who probably still were blasting literally the day of the fight, hours before the fight. They were probably driving in their cars, right? Or in their, electric cars, for those of you out there who are down with the electric move. And they were blasting, it's everyday bro, right? And I can understand, hey, it's possible. It's very possible, right? Again, there's a lot of you who watched. Don't deny it. You watched because you wanted to see Jake Paul lose. You got what you wanted. You got what you wanted. But I will say this. Was it a back and forth fight that I'm gonna go back and rewatch years from now? Was this, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler, round 1, 1985? No, it wasn't that. Was this, was it Mickey Ward, Arturo Gatti? No. Was this Miguel Cotto versus Margarito? No. It wasn't any of that. It was not. It was basically moments of the fight where Jake Paul was running. What do you expect? Look, they fought in a big ring. They fought in a big ring because it benefits the person that runs a lot, right? That's why a lot of the small fighters, whenever they're fighting, like the lighter weight classes, when they fight, they request a big ring. That's what they do, right? And look, the fight was what I expected it to be for the most part, right? There's a part of me like, yo, this fight might go to distance. And here's the thing too, right? If you're Anthony Joshua, right? I mentioned earlier his credentials, right? Olympic gold medalist, right? Former heavyweight champion. At one time, he was the face of heavyweight boxing, right? He does a fight in London, and they got to a point where they had to go to the soccer stadium. Like, dude would sell out Wembley Stadium, right? Someone of his caliber. Can you imagine the fight going the distance? Like, imagine Anthony Joshua going the distance with a YouTuber. Can you imagine just the backlash? Because look, there's a lot of boxing heads, a lot of the old heads, right? A lot of the boxing purists who hate the fact that this YouTuber is involved in their sport. They hate the fact that this YouTuber is getting this so much attention, right? But they fail to realize, and say what you want about Jake Paul. Say what you want about him. But you cannot deny that this guy has brought eyes to the boxing game, to the boxing world, to the sport of boxing, right? Started his own promotion, right? And factoring in, like, yo, his contributions to the sport has been nothing but positive for the sport of boxing. At a time, let's be honest, where boxing was at one point like a dying sport. There's a lot of people who, if you're to ask them, right, what would you rather watch, boxing or MMA? A lot of them would go, oh, I want to watch the UFC. They think the UFC is the sport, but no, it's the organization that does MMA. But I digress on that. But let's face it, you, the person watching right now, you tuned in on Friday night on Netflix because you wanted to see Anthony Joshua knock out Jake Paul. You got what you wanted, but you wanted to see it done quickly. You wanted to see it get done quickly. And don't get me wrong, Jake, for the most part, got some shots in, right? It's not like he completely, for as long as the fight lasted, like the fight went 6 rounds. The guy went out there and you know what? Yes, he lost. Jake Paul lost. He got knocked out. Well, he got the fight got stopped in the 6th round. Let me be more correct here, right? By TKO. This is the first TKO loss in Jake Paul's career. Has his jaw broken, I think, in 2 or 3 places. And again, everyone was happy, celebrating. Yeah, like they won something. But let's be honest. Let me ask the person that's celebrating his loss. Would you step into the ring? would you step into the boxing ring? Forget 6 rounds. Would you last 1 round with someone of the pedigree of Anthony Joshua? I'll wait. Chances are you will. Chances are you would not. Chances are you would fold. Chances are you would get finished within 20 seconds. And that goes for a lot of the average person like me and you, right? The fact that Jake Paul, the YouTuber, right, the guy who sang this every day, bro, was a troll in his early on in his life, right? The fact that, look, he's took boxing seriously, right? Like you look from his early fights, right? When he was fighting Deji, right? Where in the fucking when they were fighting at the amateur level boxing, right? On the undercard of KSI Logan Paul, right? Even though I thought Logan won that fight, but hey, they called it a draw, but it is what it is, right? That same Jake Paul, right? Who went on to fight Anderson Gibb, right? And finished him in a round. The same Jake Paul who, look, at that point, people wanted him to fight, if I remember correctly, athletes. Oh, you're beating up YouTubers. Fight an athlete. And he fought Nate Robinson. I remember that fight because that day of the fight, I went to go get my COVID test. And I had to camp out the night before to get this test. I remember watching it in my car and seeing him drop Nate Robinson. And then the whole thing was, oh, but you have to fight a fighter. And he went on to fight, MMA fighters. He fought Ben Askren. He beat him, I think, in a round, right? And then he went on to fight Tyron Woodley twice. He dropped him. Tyron Woodley went splat in the second fight. Dude went to sleep. And then he went on to fight the likes of Anderson Silva. He went on to fight, obviously, because at that point, fight a boxer. And he fought Tommy Fury. He fought Tommy Fury, a fight that was official, then he got called off multiple times, right? And Jake loses. He lost to a boxer. And then after that, he fought Nate Diaz. He fought a couple of boxing, he fought boxers, right? Who I think one of them was August something. Again, guys who, let's be honest, no one remembers, right? But he fought boxers, right? And he beat them. He then went on to fight, again, Nate Diaz. He went on to fight, oh my goodness. Fucking hell. Yeah, I mentioned before Nate Diaz. He went on to fight so many other people, right? And it got to a point where, okay, he started to take the shit seriously, right? Yeah, he even fought Mike Perry, right? Platinum Mike Perry, the face of BKFC, and he beats him. The point I'm trying to make is here. The point I'm trying to say is, look, say what you want about him, but y'all gotta put some respect on the dude's name, yo. Put some respect, yo. The guy went in there, bro, hung in there for 6 rounds against Anthony Joshua, where you all knew dude did not have a fighting chance at all. Not a hope in hell. And he lost, but he hung in there, bro. So for that, you know what, man? I'll give that to Jake. Likely he will come back. He did say he's going to return and all that stuff, and we'll see where he goes. But at the end of the day, again, you knew this was going to happen, right? There are some people who thought Jake was going to win. There's some people who thought that Jake was going to go out there and just hang in there with Anthony Joshua. It was not going to happen, right? And I'm aware Anthony Joshua, who was coming off a loss, and I think a layoff of 15 months. So you did not know what version of AJ you were going to get, but the same Anthony Joshua who made light work out of Francis Ngannou, the same Francis Ngannou that fought Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury got dropped by Ngannou. I don't know how many of y'all remember that. But at the end of the day, whether you like him or hate him, you got to give him his respect. And I also heard that the Andrew Tate loss. I did not get to watch the Misfit card, but I did hear that UFC alumni Tony Ferguson got the win, and he's now the Misfits boxing middleweight champion. So congrats on him on that one. Good for him. But as far as the wrestling world, I know Raw tonight is taped. Let me just run down what's going to be happening on Monday Night Raw. Because again, Raw's already been taped, right? Raw's already happened, right? So again, they're letting talent go out on the holidays. Tonight it's CM Punk and Rey Mysterio. They'll team up against two members of the Vision, right? So for all we know, it might be the Bronze, it might be Braun Breaker Logan Paul, it might be Bronson Reed Logan Paul. We don't fucking know. We're also going to get Rhea Ripley versus Asuka tonight. And we're also going to be getting Roxanne Perez versus Bayley. We're also getting Javon Evans on Monday Night Raw. That's going to be must-see. Javon Evans on Monday Night Raw against Rayo Americano. And we'll also see what's in store for Maxine Dupree. And I said this on Raw Rundown last week. Get this belt off of her. At this point, I would rather see Nikki Bella hold on to the Women's Intercontinental Championship at this stage of the game. I would much rather see that. Also, we'll hear from Gunther. We'll see what he has to say. I know also over the weekend, there was a AAA show. I know that Javon Evans, Laredo Kid, and Jack Cartwheel stole the show. They tore the house down. They're triple threat. So that was good to see also. Also, I did see the botch that took place on NXT between Thea Hale versus Blake Monroe for the NXT Women's North American Championship, where Blake Monroe was supposed to kick out and she didn't. And it caused this whole mess to the point. And keep in mind, this was taped, right? So to my understanding, WWE, because of this, they started a policy where now if your talent, even if your segment or your content, whatever the case may be, is over with, you have to stay for the entirety of the taping. So I think what happened was Thea Hale, what she did after she won, she left and went back home to go live on Twitch. So again, it's not her fault. It's not like they're giving her heat for this, but again, at the end of the day, the referee did what he needed to do. Like he called it like a shoot, which is what you're supposed to do. If you're a referee, you got to call it like a shoot. You can't just go out there and just, not count the fall. You call it like a shoot. So Thea Hale is the new NXT Women's North American Champion. And you know what? At this point, if I'm NXT, they're going to be call up soon, right? Call up Blake Monroe. Why not? Call up Blake Monroe. And also, I know I just mentioned AAA moments ago, but also Omos made a return once again. He showed up at the AAA show and he attacked Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee was going one-on-one with El Hijo del Vikingo, who is now on a heel run. And I guess now he aligned himself with Vikingo. So good for him. Good for Omos out there still doing the damn thing. I know it's kind of crazy. Like, yeah, bro, he's basically the wrestler who fights abroad, right? And also, again, cool to see, but also on the show as well. Guess who was in attendance for this AAA show? None other than Saul Canelo Alvarez. He was there at the show. Crazy to think, right? Like a couple weeks ago, was it last week or so? Bad Bunny was at a CMLL show. And now here we are this past Friday. You had Canelo Alvarez at a AAA show. You love to see it. You fucking do. So that was cool to see. Outside of that, I mean, look, it's almost the end of the year. And no, I am not doing a end of the year awards. I saw what happened. I know a lot of people got so fucking upset by the awards that went out, but by the end of the year, right? Winners on Sports Illustrated, and everyone, the whole community, just fucking lost it. It's embarrassing. It's fucking embarrassing. Now, did I agree with all of them? No, respectfully. But I'm not going to go out there and just lose my fucking mind, or I'm not going to go out there on social media and bitch to fucking bitch. I'm not doing that. Like, imagine being one of the top creators in the space. Say what you want, love him or hate him, but the guy gets view, the guy gets clicks, right? He's doing something right at the end of the day, right? Imagine getting so pressed over a end of the year awards. Could never be me. Could never, ever be me, right? But that being said, no, we are not doing the pointy awards. Maybe next year we'll get that sorted out. For the most part. But outside of that, look, Wrestle was it World's End is happening? Let me see what the card is looking like right now, if I may. Let me see what the card is looking like right now, if you will. I know MJF showed up on Dynamite this past Wednesday, and he decided to sign his contract. Because I don't know how many of you remember, but MJF does have a contract for a future AEW World Title match. The only thing is he has to, I guess how it works is let them know in a week and let them know in advance. But he did sign a contract. So instead of waiting for the winner, he's going to just add himself to the match. So if you guys don't know, originally it was Samoa Joe versus Hangman Page versus Swerve. But then MJF made an appearance, and now he is adding himself. I mean, I know it's kind of weird. Like, why would you just put yourself in this match and not just wait for the winner? But if I may, I mean, Seth Rollins, when you think about it, right? In 2015, the heist of the century, he cashed in during a match against the match that was between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania 31 in the main event. And he cashed in during the match. They didn't wait for the winner, cashed in during the match. So it's fine. But if you're wondering what it's looking like right now, keep in mind, I know they over the weekend, they did tapings at the Hammerstein Ballroom. Would have gone, but again, at my job, it was holiday. It was overtime, so I didn't want to miss that. So maybe next time. But if you're wondering what it's looking, now keep in mind, this is per, what's it called? This is per Wikipedia, right? So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm not going to read, I guess, the finalist, if you will, but I'll just say this right now. You do have Chris Statlander versus Jamie Hayter for the Women's World Championship. You have Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale defending the women's tag team titles against Mercedes Moné and Athena. You have FTR versus the Bang Bang Gang of Juice Robinson and Austin Gunn in a Chicago street fight. If I'm reading this correctly, they have Darby Allin versus Gabe Kidd. I hope this is wrong, but I'm just giving you what they have so far. Let me do something real quick here. Let me there you go. Let me see here. So they do have obviously the Fatal 4-Way, MJF, Samoa Joe, Hangman, and Swerve for the world title. I know they did the media call today. You also had, like I mentioned before, the Babes of Wrath of Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes and Athena. Mercedes Moné, who lost her Rev Pro Women's Championship over the weekend when they were over there in the UK. So that happened. Also on the show, let me see what we have here. Chris Statlander versus Jamie Hayter. That's also happening. And obviously we'll get the semifinals of the finals of the Blue League, the finals of the Gold League, and the two winners will meet, and we'll see who goes on and wins the Continental Classic. I do think though that the final will be can't be the final no more, but would have loved to have seen Okada and Takeshita going at it in the final, but we'll see how all that goes. But outside of that, like, look, also, Cody Rhodes, if you guys remember last week, I did the whole reaction where he went to Drew's house and they brawled and all that stuff. So on SmackDown, Nick Aldis told Cody, hey, man, you basically proved Drew's point correct. Because now, when he comes back, you cannot touch him. Or if not, I will strip you of the WWE championship. And then Cody, reminded Nick, hey, I'm QB1. I'm QB1. I am the one who did a tweet that changed the game, referencing All In. He's the one who won the Rumble twice. He beat Roman Reigns. He beat John Cena. And again, he doesn't work for Nick Aldis. He works for the people. But then he told Nick Aldis that, hey, Nick Aldis works for Cody Rhodes. So we'll see how all this goes down. But Drew McIntyre is coming back. I think I've heard rumbling that they're going to have the match, I think, sometime in January. But we'll see how that goes. Also what happened, you had the Wyatt, two members of the Wyatts going up against the MFTs, which ended in a brawl. So there was that too. But yeah, overall, I mean, SmackDown as a whole, it was all right. Nothing to go crazy about. All right. But that's going to be it for me, man. That's going to be it for me. Much love to all of you. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with the Raw Rundown. Okay. I'll be back tomorrow with the Raw Rundown, recapping Raw, what happening tonight on this taped episode of Monday Night Raw. And then after that, you ain't going to hear from me probably till Friday. Depends. Because obviously it's Christmas and I'm not doing anything on Christmas Day. Nah. There will not be a something about Dynamite. Nah. Can't do it. Sorry. It's Christmas Day, y'all. Sorry. But yeah, I'll keep y'all posted, but I'll see y'all tomorrow for the Raw Rundown. That's going to be it for me, guys. Much love to all of you. All right. Follow me on X at AT Network. You guys know it already, but follow me on X at Heel Steven. Follow the Around the Point Network on X at AT Network. Thank y'all for tuning in. As always, for myself, this has been Steve's Kitchen here on the Around the Point Network. Peace out, y'all.
Listen. Fuck up. Get out.